Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam and I hope you're doing really well. And on this channel I like to talk about all things film, Blu-ray and physical media collecting. So I haven't done one of these videos in a while. I sort of made a little bit of a promise that I was going to be cutting back on the amount of stuff I'd be buying, at least in the first part of 2021. Although I have been reducing the amount I've been buying, my partner can attest to the reduced amount of thuds that there are coming through the letterbox each day. I have been buying a few things and I thought I would just take the time to make a video and share what those are with you. So the majority of these I haven't watched yet, but I'll just give you some thoughts about what I know about the film and why I picked it up. But I'll start off with the two titles of this haul that I have actually seen so far, and boy are they incredible films. So to start off with, this is a film once I heard it was announced. It's something that I was so desperate to see, and thankfully I had this delivered quite early and I managed to watch it quite recently, and this is Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor. So Brandon Cronenberg is legendary filmmaker David Cronenberg's son, and he very much is following in his father's footsteps in terms of theme that David Cronenberg used to have in his, or had in his films. So there's a lot of relationships between technology and human beings, some body horror, quite violent cinema. This film is like a spy, espionage, thriller, head twisting thing. I don't really know how to describe it very well. I will put not a spoiler, but a warning that this is an extremely violent film. So if you do like what I'm saying about it, that there is some quite graphic, disturbing scenes of violence in this film that even shocked me. At the minute on my film studies course, I'm studying a lot about film violence, and it's making me reassess what it is about violence that can be entertaining or an enjoyment from it. It's a very interesting thing to sort of look inward about why that sort of thing appeals to the masses and stuff. And I do think that the violence in this film, while disturbing in places, does have something to say about the content that it revolves around. So I don't want to spoil anything, but if you've seen this, let's have a conversation in the comment section below and let me know what you thought about the violence in this film, how you think it was maybe justified, and where the barrier between justified and unjustified violence on screen may be. But I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I'm really intrigued to see what Brandon Cronenberg does next, and even though I've got this on Blu-ray, it's not a 4K disc in the UK as of yet, and to import that, particularly on like eBay and stuff, is very pricey. But if this ever does get like a 4K release from a boutique Blu-ray company or just a general 4K release, I will be picking it up, and then I'll sell this one on because I love this film and it will be making my curation at some point down the road. And next up is a really fantastic debut feature from Rose Glass, and it's called Saint Maud. So I've actually started to put my steelbooks in these protective sleeves. Normally my steelbooks are just sat on the shelf like any other Blu-ray sort of Amaray case, and I've noticed a few of them from shelf wear started to get scratches on the bottom and stuff, and so I thought I might start to preserve some of my steelbooks now. So forgive me about the glare on here, but yeah, Saint Maud is very much it's like a psychological thriller horror. I'd say the horror is secondary to the psychological thriller aspect of things. It's a very deep look at mental illness, and I don't want to spoil anything about this one, but it's a British film. It's Rose Glass's debut feature, and there's so many themes in here about religion and mental illness, as I suggested. And yeah, it's a superb film, along sort of lines as maybe some of the A24 horror films that some people either love or hate. I would say that if you're maybe not so much a fan of Hereditary or Midsommar or The Witch, that this may be a little more to your liking, just in the tone and stuff. But this edition is absolutely gorgeous, the steelbook, and this film is a knockout. I really look forward to what Rose Glass puts out next, because this is a superb debut feature from her. So the next bunch of films I haven't seen, at least the discs here. Some of the films I'm about to show you I've seen in previous Blu-ray versions and stuff, but I've got a few 4K upgrades and some box sets and some new releases, some from boutique labels that I thought I'd just share with you. So first up, I have the classic 80s horror film directed by Sam Raimi, and it's The Evil Dead, and this is the 4K restoration. So yeah, this is a brand new 4K restoration, and this set comes with 4 hours of bonus content, which I think a lot of it has been transferred over from like previous iterations or releases of this film. But yeah, I absolutely adore this film, and I'm really intrigued to see how good the 4K is, because I've seen a lot of people talk really good things about it. So, and yeah, have you seen this 4K of Evil Dead 2? If you have, let me know what you thought about it. And but yeah, I'll be sure to give my opinions on it on something like Instagram once I've seen it. So yeah, I love this film. Next up is a film from a filmmaker who I'm really admiring at the moment. He's only released 2 features, but he's also made a limited run series for television, and that's Alex Garland's Annihilation. This stars Natalie Portman and Oscar Isaac, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and a bunch of other well-known actors. And this is how I basically like my sci-fi. Like generally, I mean, I'm all on board for sort of actiony sci-fi cinema, but I like really sort of slow burn, keeps you thinking long after the film's finished. This would be a perfect pairing with Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker, and I'd love to have that as a conversation on my podcast Let's Watch 2 at some point, which if you haven't checked out, I'll leave a link in the description. It's just like a podcast where we take 2 films and pair them together and discuss the similarities and differences between them. But that's a totally different aside there. But this film is incredible. I've watched it twice on Netflix, and I thought it was about time that I sort of bought the 4K, just because I know even though you can watch things in high definition on Netflix, it's still, the bit rate is still like reduced, and you never truly get what they're claiming to be selling you when you're streaming those things. So I really want to see this in the best quality, and this is certainly a film that would, from watching it in like Blu-ray sort of 1080p quality, would really benefit from some HDR action and stuff. So really great film. Next up is an upgrade from a Blu-ray I had, but it's probably my favorite Martin Scorsese film, maybe that or Taxi Driver. But yeah, this is not from 1995, Casino. So this is my favorite film from 1995. I did a video a while back on my favorite films from each year I've been alive. I'll leave a link up in the description if it's there or there. I never know which way it is when I'm filming this. But I think this film is one of Scorsese's best. I think it's better than Goodfellas in my opinion, and yeah, just needed to upgrade it because I've heard great things about the transfer on this one as well, and I got it really cheap. Like on the secondary market it's still sealed, and I think I picked this up on eBay for £7, which is insane for a 4K disc of a film of this quality. So yeah, really excited to watch this one. This next pickup I got at a steal, and I feel a little guilty for getting it at such a cheap price. Although I don't feel that guilty because I bought it through Amazon. So, but there was some sort of price glitches in America from some sellers. I'm not exactly sure where the error was from, but I think Amazon basically price matched some things. I'm not too sure, but I managed to get this 12 film box set of Rita Hayworth classics from Mill Creek, is the distributor, and I got this for like $13, which is insane value, like insane value. I don't know how much this was supposed to be, maybe $25, $30. Brand new. This is brand new. It's still sealed. It comes with a cool slip cover. It's pretty cool. I love Rita Hayworth. There's a bunch of films in here that I've not seen, so in fact I probably haven't seen most of these films, to be honest, but Rita Hayworth is one of my favourite actresses from the period of like the 30s and the 40s, and yeah, I'm really excited to delve into this one, and I got it at such a good price. Yeah, it's not very often that deals like that come along, although it was an error in pricing. But the next 2 pickups were from a Vinegar Syndrome sort of haul I had, and I wanted to pick this one up because, as a rule, this might be giving it away by what I'm saying, but as a rule, I don't watch trailers ever. The last trailer, apart from films at the theatre, when you go to see something, you can't avoid them, but I never watch them online. If there's a film I'm interested in, I'll read around what it's about and who's in it, who's made it, things like that, and that's normally enough to sell me on a film. I generally like to stay as like blind, that's why I buy a lot of films blind on Blu-ray, but when I go to the theatre or go to see something, I like to be as cold going into it as possible so that nothing is interfering with my expectation of what the film's going to be like. But this Blu-ray is actually a horror film compilation, so it's very against generally what I like to do. I don't watch trailers at all. However, these trailers are for really obscure, like B horror films, low budget horror films that I will probably never see, but it's really interesting to see like some trailers for these types of like really low budget grindhouse like horror films. This is from the American Genre Film Archive, and yeah, this was distributed by Vinegar Syndrome, and I'm really excited to watch this because I could just put this on for, if I've got 10-15 minutes spare, I could put it on and watch a bunch of trailers for some films that I'm never going to see, but I think the trailers are going to be quite interesting to view. Who knows, there may be some trailers in here that make me want to source out the film. Sometimes trailers can deceive you and make you go watch something and then you're like, the trailer sort of sold me something completely different there, or the best bits are in the trailer, which often happens with a lot of like Hollywood films. But for these low budget like B movies, like even lower than B movies some cases, I'm really excited to check this out. So the next film is a Vinegar Syndrome archive release, and I watched this one recently on my last Vinegar Syndrome haul, and this was LA Wars. If you're into cheesy action, like low budget action films from the 90s, you have to see this. Hopefully, this is now sold out, unfortunately, I believe. It's only limited to 4,000 copies, but I'm sure another label at some point will pick this up and put it out. Or if it's on any streaming services, I'm not too sure. You should really check it out if you're into those sorts of action films. The dialogue is pretty funny, but it's so entertaining. I absolutely love this. I watched it by myself, but this is something I could see myself watching with a group of friends and just having such a good time with it. And I heard that this next pickup that I made is even better, and it is Action USA. So this is definitely sold out now. This sold out very, very quickly. It had a reputation as being like one of the best sort of like straight to VHS action films from the era, and it's meant to be absolutely crazy, and I can't wait to watch this one. Next up are a few Arrow Video releases I've got. I managed to source on eBay, not realizing it was from a friend until after I purchased it and they contacted me. But yeah, this is Takashi Miike's Dead or Alive trilogy. Now this is something I've been wanting to get hold of for a while, especially with the slipcover. And Takashi Miike is such an interesting director. He's got such a breadth of varieties of genres and stuff in his filmmaking, and I really appreciate that in a filmmaker. Plus, Japanese cinema is some of my favourite, and it's just wacky, and I've not seen these obviously, but I know that Matt from Amateur Filmies is a big Takashi Miike fan, and I think he's mentioned at least one or two of these films before, either in conversation on my podcast or on one of their YouTube videos, but I really look forward to digging into this one at some point. Then we have some January releases from Arrow Video. Really excited for both of these. First we have Joint Security Area from Park Chan-wook. I think this is the only Park Chan-wook film I haven't seen, and I've heard by many people this is meant to be one of his best films. And yeah, it comes with a really cool slipcover, and yeah, I just haven't had time to watch this one yet, but it's got quite a lot of special features and stuff, so really excited to watch JSA. And then this one is one that I've been, since that postcard has been found in some like releases of previous Arrow Video films. So if you're not aware, Arrow Video sometimes put like postcards in like releases to sort of hint or basically spoil what releases may be coming out in the future, and sometimes these releases can take quite a long time, like months or even like years, for them to come to fruition. And this was spoiled such a long time ago, and I'm so glad it came out, and it's Richard Kelly's Southland Tales. This is such a bizarre mess of a film. It shouldn't work because in many respects it's very poorly made, with sprinkles of genius mixed in there. Like truly, like there are some genius moments in this film, but it's all mixed in with some pretty poor storytelling and themes that don't quite know what they are and not very solid in their message. But despite all that, it is so entertaining. I managed to watch this on Mubi quite a while ago. It was sort of highlighted under their sort of perfect disaster films, or like sort of films that are not really truly given the credit they deserve, whether they're good or bad or whatever. But this is obviously one of those films that's not quite there in many respects, but it's so entertaining. And this includes the Cannes cut, so this has been long forever, like not lost, but just not available. It's a slightly longer version of the film that fleshes out some of the plot and characters. It's so strange because this film is like parts 4, 5 and 6, and parts 1, 2 and 3 is like a comic book that is like out of print and goes for stupid money on eBay. So if you want to know the previous story for this film, you don't need to see those comics or read those comics to enjoy this film. It sort of gives you a little bit of information about what's gone prior, but if you want the complete sort of story arc of everything that goes on here, you need to source out this extremely rare graphic novel. And yeah, I was hoping that when they announced this, that they were going to include that comic in this box set, like in this as a box set, which would have been just incredible, but I guess they couldn't get that together. But nonetheless, I look forward to delving into this one, and when I watch this, I will be watching the Cannes cut because I really enjoyed the theatrical release, despite it being quite problematic in terms of its structure and just general execution. But it's one of those films that is just endlessly interesting to see what Richard Kelly was getting at. So yeah, Southland Tales. Another Vinegar Syndrome sort of partner release I managed to pick up is something that I've heard Aaron Pin talking quite highly of, and it's the Fun City edition. This is like a new boutique Blu-ray label. I think this is the first thing they ever put out, so this is quite exciting, and it's Alphabet City. So this is like a neo-noir film from the 80s, I think. I want to say it's 1985. 1984, close enough. But yeah, this is from 1984. It's like a neo-noir type film, and I love me some noir films. And it was enough to get the sort of seal of approval from Mr. Aaron Pin, one of the pillars of the Blu-ray collecting community, and I picked it up based on his recommendation. So I really look forward to watching this at some point. The next film is something I'm very grateful to have got my hands on. I managed to get this at a pretty reasonable price, at least in my opinion. It's an out-of-print Eureka Masters of Cinema release, and it's been out of print for a while now, but it's Federico Fellini's Fellini Satyricon. This is still sealed, which is pretty amazing, and yeah, I'm not sure why this is out of print, but yeah, I love Eureka Masters of Cinema. For me, in terms of the stuff I've seen, they've got a better hit rate for me than sort of the Criterion. I think sometimes the Criterion put a bit more, or the packaging can be nicer, or the special editions, the special features can be like really incredible. But in terms of my like appreciation of the film itself, Eureka really do hit the nail on the head with me quite a number of times. And I've heard this is a really interesting sort of experimental work from Fellini. I've only ever seen 2 Fellini films, and that's 8.5 and La Dolce Vita. I need to correct that and get some more. I really wanted that Fellini, essential Fellini box set from Criterion, but it's just quite a lot of money, and importing it and just being scared of it getting damaged in like shipping from America and things like that. So, but yeah, I managed to get this out of print Fellini set for quite a decent price in my opinion on eBay, and yeah, I'm really happy to add it to the collection and to further build my Eureka Masters of Cinema exploration. Almost there with my haul for this this video. This is a very recent pickup. As of recording this, I've got this yesterday in the post, and this is one that really piqued my interest. So this is from 1929, directed by Paul Lenny, and it's a Eureka Masters of Cinema release again, and it is The Last Warning. So this is a 4K restoration of this film. So the story follows the mysterious death of an actor on stage during like a Broadway production, and then for some mysterious reason the body goes missing, and then the theatre is sort of like condemned and people don't go there because of, you know, the reputation it has there, and people don't want to be associated with it. And then a director assembles the actors and crew to restage the play that occurred when this person seemingly died. So it's really interesting type of film from the period, and I'm just really into 20s cinema at the minute. Like anything silent or anything like pre-code or anything different like this, I'm all on board. And Eureka are doing some great work with this sort of stuff, and yeah, I'm always happy to support the preservation and restoration of films like this that wouldn't otherwise see the treatment. But yeah, 4K, it's not 4K disc. I'm not too sure how films like this, although I haven't seen it, would benefit from like a 4K disc like HDR. The film stock and the materials are so old, and the quality, I mean, they do some great stuff with some of the films from back then, but it's just, you're not going to get too much more out of it, if anything at all, if you was to put it on a 4K disc, unless you're watching it on like something stupidly big, like big projector or a really big telly. So, but yeah, I'm really excited for this one. And last but not least, no Blu-ray haul video would be complete without mentioning Indicator. And this month was the delivery of their most recent Columbia Noir set, Columbia Noir 2. I haven't opened Columbia Noir 1 yet. I've just been so busy with watching things for various different reasons, and yeah, so I am guilty of sometimes buying a lot of stuff and not getting around to watching it straight away. But I know these sets are going to be something that I will love, because noir is my jam. There's a bunch of films in these sets that I've not seen before. I have seen Affair in Trinidad before, starring Rita Hayworth and Glenn Ford here on the cover. I think everything else in this set I've never seen before. So I just, yeah, I love this. I've already pre-ordered Columbia Noir number 3, and Indicator are just absolutely smashing it, and they're contenders for being one of the best boutique Blu-rays out there, Blu-ray companies out there at the moment. So yeah. Okay, so that's a wrap on this Blu-ray haul video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you've seen any of these films before, or if you've picked them up. Let me know what you've picked up recently. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing, and leave a comment down below, and let's have a conversation about physical media. So until next time everyone, take care.